Damn phones, Babylons can't crack the code.
Every year, people always like to debate and argue where is the best high school talent from in the United States. The states that often come up in discussion tend to be California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia, just to name a few. Those states are usually talked about the most in some way, shape, or form, whether it is the teams, the players, the recruiting, all of that. But a state that is not talked about at all nationally in the United States for high school football is the state of Idaho, as blue chip talent isn't just walking in the state in every recruiting class. Since the 2013 recruiting class, they've had 4-star recruits. However, this year for the 2024 cycle, they've had their highest rated recruit ever that just ranks outside of 5-star territory. This is Gatlin Bair. He's the highest rated recruit to ever come out of the state of Idaho and the highest rated commit to ever go to Boise State. In the 2024 class, he is rated as a 4-star prospect, the number 40 player nationally, the number 10 receiver in the class, and is one of the highest risers as well, as he started as the number 370 player going into 2022, and going into his senior year is a top 40 player and could potentially even go up to that 5-star rank. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about Gatlin Bair, his story, everything you need to know about him, and what his impact could be for Boise State down the line. Before I move on, remember to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Now let's get into it. Gatlin Bair plays at Burley Senior High School in Burley, Idaho. He plays wide receiver but can play on both sides of the ball, as he stands in at 6'2", 195 pounds. In his junior campaign of 2022, he was a real standout on the Idaho prep scene, recording 73 receptions for 1,073 yards and an impressive 18 touchdowns through the air. He averaged over 100 yards per game and was ultimately one of the most electric players in the state. While some may try to discredit Bair because he's not necessarily in the biggest high school football state of Idaho, and he is the highest rated player in that state's history as a high school recruit. However, something you have to acknowledge about Gatlin Bair, he does have good size, as I mentioned, 6'2", 195 pounds. He's someone that can play physical down the field, but most importantly, something you can't teach in somebody, and it's something that's really natural for most people, speed. Gatlin Bair is easily one of the fastest players to come out of high school and one of the fastest players in this entire class. People like to talk about track stars and track athletes. That's exactly what Gatlin Bair is. Gatlin Bair, his 100-meter time is 10.15 seconds. If you need another reference for how fast Gatlin Bair really is, everyone talked about how Nicholas Harbor in the class of 2023, a year prior to Bair's, was the fastest player in that class, and rightfully so. But Bair and Harbor actually ran track in the same event down in Texas on April 1st, the 100-meter dash. Who just edged out Harbor? Bair. He actually won the preliminary heat for that day. As a recruit in the 2024 recruiting class, Gatlin Bair would start off as a 3-star composite player by 24/7 Sports before going into his junior campaign of 2022, and since then he steadily has been rising through the ranks as one of the biggest risers of this 24 class, all the way to the point where he's now a top 10 player in his position as a receiver and a top 40 player nationally. Being as highly regarded and highly touted as Gatlin Bair is, many top programs in the nation are going to try to get his pledge. He held a total of 27 offers. Out of those 27 offers, he had big-time offers from schools such as Michigan, Oregon, TCU, Alabama, and Georgia, just to name a few. But when it really came time to consider what school he really wanted to be at, he would take official visits to TCU, Oregon, Michigan, and the state of Idaho's big team, Boise State. His recruiting process was actually quite interesting, as you could say a variety of teams in his recruitment had a realistic shot to get his commitment. But as more time went on, it really did seem to be, at one point he was a Michigan lean, but Boise State was going to get the last word in his recruitment, and ultimately he would decide to stay home and go to Boise State. This commitment from Gatlin Bair is very big time for Boise State. Yes, it would have been big time for the other programs that he was considering, but he is not only the highest rated player to ever come out of the state of Idaho, but he's the highest rated player to ever commit to Boise State. Now, Boise State has landed a handful of 4-stars in the modern recruiting era, and Boise State, as a moderately younger FBS Division I program, still has some really good history. They've won a couple New Year's Six Bowls. They have had a lot of 10-plus win seasons. They have 14 conference titles, and their all-time record is 263-79. That winning percentage goes crazy, and they're definitely one of the better group of 5 teams all time. And you really have to look at that Mountain West Conference and know that as of recent and pretty much the past couple decades they've been in it, it's pretty much ran through them. Of course, being the highest rated player to ever commit to Boise State, the expectations are going to be very high upon Gatlin Bair and his future as a Bronco. You can really expect him to be a key option for that offense down the line and to be a key contributor and a main focus point for that team anytime he's there. If he's healthy, of course, you do have to be healthy first. You can expect to see him on the field and to be a big-time priority in that Boise State Bronco offense. Now, as much as you would like to say you're going to hear his name a lot in the 24 college football season, that's not exactly going to be the case, as Gatlin Bair is actually not going to be playing college football immediately. Instead, he'll be taking a 2-year mission trip, so we have to wait a couple years before we really get to see him play. However, in my opinion, I feel like we'll still get to hear his name a lot when he's back from this mission trip, as it's not like Gatlin Bair is just going to lose all of his athletic abilities in a 2-year span unless something crazy drastic happens to him, which is very unforeseen, but we're going to ignore that. I'm expecting him to still be a big-time player no matter what when he comes back from the mission trip. He's not going to lose that size that he has. He's not going to lose that elite top-end speed that he has, the elite speed in general, and if he really has that good catching ability he's proved on the Idaho prep scene and carries it to the college level, he's going to be a real problem for opposing defenses. Well, guys, if you made it this far in the video, drop something down in the comment section below. What videos you want to see on this channel in the future, and before you head out, remember to smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, and subscribe if you haven't already. B. Kelly out.